Hey everyone, welcome to Grounded with John Chester and Maritza Giorgio. Just wanted to do a little Friday update check-in because there's hell of a lot going on. Where are you, Senator?
Hell of a lot. I'm in an airport in our nation's capital. So, yeah, so good.
So you want to tell us about what you were doing?
Yeah, I was getting oriented. It was an orientation for the Georgetown Fellowship. So I got oriented at Georgetown. It was good. Yeah, good kids, smart kids. It's going to be fun. Still there?
Sorry,
You
I
didn't
had
lose
to
me,
mute
did you?
myself to
Okay.
get all my windows up. You know how it is.
All
It's
right.
just
I know
hard.
how it
It's
is.
just
I know it
hard to have
is.
so many windows.
It's hard when you got a lot of
So
windows. Yes.
we just want to get up on here because a lot is happening, especially in Minneapolis. And I wanted to let you guys know I'm going to Minneapolis tomorrow and just going to try to get a feel for what's on the ground. I'm hearing so much from my friends there, especially friends with kids, and seeing so much. And so I want to go see for myself. I'll also be doing some reporting and we'll go live here with you guys, hopefully, and see what we can bring you. But just important to shed light. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about what's going on. Is that cool with you, Senator? You have a minute?
Yes, that's good with me. I think it's important that you kind of see it with your own eyes to make sure that what's going on there is accurate either way. And so I think it's good. But just to let our viewers know, you might have to send bail money because, Maritza might end up in the slammer. Hard to say. Let's hope not.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, I don't know how you could just sit by and not try to stop it. Let's just start with a little bit of this. I mean, we've heard countless administration officials talk about going after the worst of the worst and arresting the worst criminals. And the Border Patrol chief was on the news today again saying we're going after the worst criminals, and he showed up all these pictures. But I want to show you this picture, and a lot of people have probably already seen this, and for people just listening, this is a picture of a 5-year-old little boy. A school official says this little child, Liam Ramos, was used as bait. So I want to talk about the details here in a moment, but I want you to look at this little boy's face. And it is, as a parent, to see this little boy, all I see is my son and how scared he would have been, not only at this age, but even at the age of 14 that he is now. And this is one of 4 kids detained from this specific school district, Senator.
Yeah, I wouldn't classify that 5-year-old as being the worst of the worst. That's for damn sure. And I think that's why it's important you go there, because if you're able to be there and see this kind of stuff, you can report back with certainty that things have or have not been exaggerated. And to use a human being, a little child, as bait, and have the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Vice President of the United States and others in the administration say that, shooting a woman, as was done a couple of weeks ago, is justified, when in fact anybody in law enforcement knows that the use of fatal force is the last resort. But these guys use it as the first. I mean, I don't get it all. I just don't get it all. I get the securing of the border, and President Trump needs to get credit for that. But the tactics that are being used now is just borders upon insanity. It certainly isn't the America that I grew up in.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about that because the vice president addressed this little boy, Liam, yesterday, and he said that, at first glance, he had the same thoughts, that it was horrible, but then he said he learned the father had run and abandoned this child, so they weren't just going to leave him out in the cold. But
That's bullshit.
Yes.
I'm just telling you that's like saying a lady driving a car down the street is operating a weapon of mass destruction. That's crazy.
Well, let's talk about that because we're going to add some more context. The superintendent of this little boy's school, Columbia Heights Public Schools, where he went, says that this family had an active asylum case. They had not been ordered to leave the country. They took all the legal pathways to get here. The superintendent says that she actually has seen the documentation they have to be here. And she says that the officers had this little boy go knock on the door of his home. and trying to get other people, including his mother, to answer the door. And the superintendent says the father did not run. She says the agents wouldn't leave the boy with another adult who lived at the home who was asking to take the child. And I just, it's so upsetting to see these children being involved like this. There have been legal questions about this. There's a GoFundMe page to bring this little boy home. When I checked last, $1,000. But I also want to show you this picture. This is a photograph of a boy taken by this photographer in Minneapolis walking home alone. It says he was approached by DHS and he was unable to show them documentation proving his citizenship. And they said, well, you're under arrest. And he said, can I just go home? And they said the answer is no. I watched another video this morning of a boy who looked to be about my son's age being tackled in the streets of Minnesota. And I think more light needs to be shed on these kids. And I want to show you one more thing. A friend sent me this email last night, and this was sent to parents at his kid's school. And it says that parents, families, we've learned that ICE is sending out flyers offering food support and delivery to families. For your safety, do not respond to these offers. If you're in need of support, contact the school. So this, I asked Liz, lawyer, last night, I sent this to her and I said, is this legal? And she said, I don't know off the top of her head. But here's what I know, Senator. This isn't ethical or moral. And that's what Greg Bavino told reporters this week, is that everything we do every day is legal, ethical, moral, well-grounded in law. But I don't know how you can go after families who are staying home and not feeding their families because they're afraid, and actually use that as a way to get them to come out.
Yeah, and look, 100% correct. It's not moral at all. And the fact that these guys will never do any investigations to find out the legality of it. They're not even investigating the agent that shot the woman point blank 3 times. They don't need to investigate that stuff. Why? Because they're afraid of what they're going to find. And this isn't, and they'll have nobody do the investigation on this either. He's fired all the IGs. And so it's just wrong, and it makes you ask, what kind of world do we live in? We live in a world where now we have masked men coming to people's houses and holding kids as bait, and I mean, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, the doctor that wanted to go check on the woman that had been shot 3 times in the head or the face or wherever she was shot in the head wouldn't let him go there because we've got a doctor coming. The adult in the household that says, no, the child can be here, let him in. No, we don't want to do that. Let me tell you something. If they were treated like this, they'd be up in arms. And the truth is that, and it's been said many, many times, and this stuff goes on with nobody challenging, with nobody following the law, nobody holding people accountable, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
We do have somebody on our chat asking, how can we protest ICE when more funding was just approved with 7 Democrats on board?
I didn't see the bill. I didn't see who voted for it. But I will tell you, ICE has got plenty of money. And that's a fact. They got plenty of money.
Yeah, there's a chart going around that shows just how much more money that their budget is, how much larger their budget is than it has been in many years past. Here's one more photo.
It brings me to the question of, well, what about the debt? I mean, we're just going to keep piling on money. We're writing checks out to farmers, and we're writing checks out to Argentina. And the president talked about giving $2,000 checks to everybody after he taxes us on his tariffs. I mean, I don't get it myself. And by the way, there should be some accountability with any of those dollars that go through. But we'll see. I don't, like I said, I don't know who supported it. I don't get it. But when you don't have, the eyes and ears and the folks holding people accountable in these agencies, you don't know how this money is being spent. You don't know if it's been spent properly or improperly. And when it appears to be spent improperly, there's nobody there. There's no cops on the beat there to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Here's another photo. This was a protester who was already detained. And there's a longer video of this, and it shows one of the agents just going up as he's detained, face down, agents around him, holding him down. And this agent sprays an irritant right in his face. there's another story that came out this week that ICE officers basically had this memo to say, well, you can just enter homes without a judge's warrant. And so what should people be doing, Senator?
Well, first of all, vote, and that's a fact. And second of all, I think you need to protest peacefully. It's critically important. MLK said it, and he's right. Peaceful protests are the best way to get people's attention. And then contact your representatives. I did this orientation here at Georgetown for these kids that I'm doing a fellowship for. And one of the things that was said was, if the elected representatives go out and talk to people, they'll find out what the people are thinking and they can better represent them. They're not doing that. They do phony telephone town halls. They don't do town halls in person where it's eyeball to eyeball. And if they do, it's invite only. And they don't go out and talk to people. They don't go out and hear what they have to say. And I will tell you that's not representation in my book. That's somebody who's got a job that thinks he's better than everybody else, and that's crap. And so what I would say is, keep writing emails, not only to the elected representatives, but the folks in the administration, and make sure your voice continues to be heard in a peaceful manner.
Okay, there is a whole lot of other things that have happened since you've been in DC. President Trump went to Davos and scaled back his threats of using the military to invade Greenland. I think a lot of people breathed a sigh of relief over that one. But also, there's this whole Board of Peace. Did you see this story about the Board of Peace? And Russian President Vladimir Putin is saying, well, he might join for $1 billion. What do you think about that?
I think that it will never be as effective as or as good as NATO. And if NATO goes away, it rearranges the world order. So it wouldn't surprise me if Xi and Putin encourage him to do it, because the best thing they could do for their, for their power grab in the world is see that NATO goes away, that our allies are no longer our allies. That's a beautiful thing. That plays into their playbook. It's dangerous, incredibly dangerous on the world stage. And the fact that folks in the Senate that I served with that know better are not saying anything is insane. And by the way, what's he doing with his money? Is it going into a foreign bank account in Qatar under his name too? Or is it going to the U.S. Treasury? Now, all this stuff smells bad, and it speaks bad long-term collateral damage for the United States.
Well, let me show you a video. I won't keep you on here forever. I know you're at an airport, but I do want to show you this video. This is a video that was launched by the Save America movement, and they're playing this, I believe, in Denmark. So let me play this.
Are growing in America. Darkness is falling. Evil is spreading. Europe has seen this before. It came to Denmark, and Danes and Americans fought it side by side. Those sacrifices are as eternal as are the ties they forged. Threats against Denmark by an American fascist shame all Americans, betray our history, our alliances, and the ideas that give our nation meaning. People of Denmark, hear us plainly. Millions of Americans will stand in the way of attempts to seize what is not ours. American opposition is growing, larger, more defiant, and unshakable than anything imagined by the architects of our crisis and ruin. Real Americans know an inalienable truth. If we abandon liberty abroad, it will never survive at home. We will defend your sovereignty as fiercely as we defend our own.
So how do you think that's going to play over there? Do you think that that will save our credibility at all?
In the end, it's going to take action. And it can't take action of division, which is what the president is very, very good at, attacking people, whether that's, Tim Walz, or whether it's attacking the Somalis, or whether it's attacking Venezuela or Greenland, without any plans, I might add, except for plans for his own personal wealth. And this ad, the fact that they even have to play this ad is amazing. About a guy that never served in the military because he had bone spurs so he could get out. Doesn't make me incredibly proud, I'll tell you that.
Okay, last thing I was going to ask you about before I let you go. Montana's making some headlines in the political universe this week. You were kind of part of this story, but let's just say that the University of Montana president, Seth Bodnar, announced that he is resigning this week. And within hours, there were these rumors that he's looking at running for United States Senate. And he mentioned something along those lines in his resignation letter, basically saying that he's going to take this time to see how he can serve his country in other ways. And within hours, there's an attack ad out from the GOP attacking Seth Bodnar before anything has even actually officially been announced or formed. So just want to get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't know what Seth Bodnar's going to do. I think he's going to make a decision one way or the other, probably in the next month or month and a half. I will tell you, this is a guy that graduated from West Point. He's a guy that's got a great family, served his country in the military, worked for the private sector, Rhodes Scholar, an incredible leader at the University of Montana. He's willing to tell things like they are. Hell, who would want to run against a candidate like that? My God, that's a tough person. So I can see why the Republicans want to try to make him into something that he's not right away as quick as they can before people really see this guy and understand this guy and hear what he has to say. But it really barks back to what a major problem we've got right now. It's why Congress is paralyzed and can't do anything. And these guys got so much money that they'll just, even a whisper of somebody that might challenge one of their dear folks results in ads and propaganda. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, but till we get a handle around the money in politics, this is the way it's going to be. And I don't know anybody that wants to see more money put into politics, and I know a lot of people would like to see it pulled back. And we'll see. There's a Montana plan out there to stop corporations from being people. We'll see if the people stand up and pass that. If they do, that'll be a giant step towards getting the money out of politics. And I think that's really what will happen, unless somebody comes in and dumps a trainload of money on top of this effort, because Montanans are smart. And they don't want to be led around by somebody who's got out-of-state interests. They don't have the best interest in Montana. And by the way, getting it back to Bodnar, this is a guy that's not going to work for D.C. if he decides to run. He ain't going to be working for D.C. He's going to be working for Montana. And Montanans, he knows Montana's a great state because he's here. He's been here, lived here. He's a Montanan. And so I don't know what he's going to do, but the truth is that Montana would be very fortunate if this guy decides to run and actually wins. And I see that with very little reservation.
I think we should have a bigger conversation at another time when you're not in an airport, because there's just a lot of speculation about if anybody other than a Republican can win in Montana, and if not only a Democrat can win, but if an independent could win. So I think we'll have that conversation at length another time when you're not at an airport. Does that sound good?
Sounds marvelous. And in the meantime, you be safe flying to Minneapolis.
I will. You're wearing your auction hat, huh?
Yeah, I'm wearing my Meekum hat. Yeah, it's my go-to road hat. So, hey.
All right. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us for just a little quick update.
One more thing. It happens to be Maurice's birthday today. So if you want to send her birthday wishes, you can. She turns 23, I believe, today. So
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
That's right. It's my golden birthday.
Kid, but 23, 14-year-old kid. It works. All right.
Yeah, just a little bit older than 23. But thank you, Senator. Right. I hope you have a safe flight. And we'll talk. We'll do some live stuff here this weekend and next week from Minneapolis. All right, everyone, be safe out there.
Tally ho.
Bye-bye.